The Lifestyle Show, presented by
Giles Brown.
One of the things that I always have a problem with, because I am a social animal, and people think I'm a Russian bot and I live on social media, but it's not exactly true. But one of the things that gets me are people calling themselves influencers, because it is not the right meaning of the word. And a person who can tell me the right meaning of the word, and I'm really looking forward to talking to this gentleman, because I had a quick look at his website and went, he's kind of got the right idea. Delighted to say that I'm joined on the line by Ravi Rajani, and he's got a book called Relationship Currency, 5 Communication Habits for Limitless Influence and also a bit of business success. Ravi, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Well, another day in Spain. It could be worse. You know what I'm saying? Whereabouts on the planet are you today?
Well, from my accent, I'll let you have a guess. UK, but where do you think? Where do you think the twang is from?
Well, I'm trying to work that bit out. So UK, but with that sort of twang, I'm thinking Thames Valley, or are we going up a bit further north than that?
I'll take that. No, Essex. I'm in Brentwood, Essex.
Good part of the world to be on this. I mean, I'm in Marbella, so we're basically twinned. I mean, Essex is twinned with Marbella, as you know. Now, I tell you, you know what got me? Because I do a lot of interviews, and we have so many people trying to sort our lives out for us, and influence and life coaches and be a better version of yourself and all that sort of thing. So I went to your website. I was like, yeah, okay. Oh, he's got the speaker things. He's got the endorsements, so far so normal. And then I checked, I kept going because I do. And I saw a page about you. And what really impressed me, and I think this is why you think you got it right, because you say in your, rather than saying, a multi-million pound company, influencer, I do these keynotes, you say, I'm a father and a husband and a believer. And not a lot of people in this business would go, you know what the first things are? Family, and being connected in a right way.
Wow. Thank you, my friend, for actually taking the time to take a look at my work and my body of work. I really appreciate that. Well, my life changed for the better on 2nd of September 2022 when my daughter was born. She's now 3, right? And my son is coming up to 1 year of age, 12 months in about 2 weeks' time. And, for me, family is everything. And I think that's very important for people to know that I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I'm someone who teaches leaders and teams how to communicate with influence and tell stories that inspire change. But when you know that about me and who I am, hopefully it makes you feel more connected, but it's important that people know that.
But also, relationships are built on trust. They're built on, because we're in an AI world. We're in a false news world. We're in, teenagers renting the inside of a private jet and monopoly money to throw away, thinking they're going to get those hits. And, wonderful, well done, knock yourself out, kid. But in the real world, you have to have, you have to walk it like you talk it, and you can't do smoke and mirrors all the time, because that's not good professionally, personally, or even spiritually. I know it's Friday, Rabbit, but I thought we'd go down this one.
I love it, my friend. And listen, look, the truth is the currency that matters the most in this world, and always have, let's be real, it always has rather, is relationship currency. Now, people say, okay, well, how do I build authentic relationships? Quite simply, you need to learn how to communicate in a way that builds trust. And then somebody will say, well, hold on, how do I establish trust in a conversation? So something that I talk about in my body of work is the 3 C's, okay? The 3 C's, people: connection, character, and competence. And we can talk a little bit about how to actually earn those 3 C's. But in a nutshell, my friend, connection is the emotional glue that forges a meaningful bond between 2 human beings. Character is the invisible values that travel with your spoken word, your nonverbal communication, and your energy. And then competence really is you emitting a signal which tells somebody a story about your expertise. And when you establish 3 of those in a conversation, in business and in life, you're able to earn trust and in turn build a meaningful relationship.
And it's not just about being flash. It's not just being about, because, I work in radio. I've got the voice. I go into a room, it's like, ta-da, and, my ex used to say, oh gosh, it's Radio Giles, because you put on you can imagine that one, you put on this persona when you go on. But this is what you do. If you're speaking in public, I do a lot of charity events. I do MC for this. I do presentations, etc. But you have to go, because that's, you are walking onto a playing field. So therefore you have to project that image. But at the same time, you don't have to be an extrovert to have charisma or to gain confidence. That's because some of the most charismatic people can then be found out sadly lacking when it comes to their underlying aims.
Well, when I was growing up, it's funny, my friend. I used to think the word charisma was simply about receiving accolades, awards, praise, and being in the spotlight. And for me, how I define it in this season of my life is an innate superpower that we all have, which helps others feel significant in our presence. So it's about making people feel like they matter when they're around you. And there's several ways you can do that. But something interesting you said that I just want to pick up on is a lot of people, and this is from my lens, this is my truth. A lot of people often say, hey, I'm an introvert, or hey, I'm an extrovert, or even, hey, I'm an ambivert, a mixture of the two. The problems that come with that is that it's a label. Every single one of those words are a label. Now, if you walk into your kitchen, pick up a jar, and it's got a label on it, beautiful. The name of the product, the ingredients, etc. You want that identity of that jar to be fixed. Great, because you want to know what it is. But when you try and fix a human being's identity, it can lead to problems. Because yes, it gives us a sense of belonging. Like, yeah, I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. But what I've seen is subconsciously, human beings will behave in a way that's congruent with that label, often to protect that identity, which can leave us playing small, thinking small. So for example, some people who label themselves as introverts may say, you know what, Ravi, I can't go to this networking event. Or Ravi, you know what, I don't speak on stages. I like being, in the back. When actually, it could be the very thing that sets their soul on fire or lights them up. So I think it's important to reframe it to, instead of I am an introvert or I am an extrovert, it could be I'm someone who fills up my cup through intimate conversations. There's a very different way of looking at it. Quick reframe.
Yeah, but the other thing is the fact that people like to put limits on themselves. They like to be in clubs. So, as I thunder towards my, to my 60s, that sort of thing, I never took the middle-age pill. I never thought, okay, that's it. I'm going to start playing golf. I'm going to, get a 2 up, 2 down in Chelmsford, whatever. And I always keep doing stuff. I always keep moving forward. And when anybody says, can you do this? I always say, yeah, because I kind of back myself. And if I don't know what I'm doing, then I'll wing it. But a lot of people, and if it goes wrong, fine, I'll laugh about it because I can laugh at myself and frequently do. But a lot of people find it safer to go, well, I can't learn a language because I'm over 30 and I can't possibly go and do this dance class because I'm a bloke and there's loads of girls there and I can't possibly do this. And, you get into your type and then you are condemning yourself to the what ifs.
Yes, I mean, when I was about 9 years old, my mum Miyagi'd me, okay? And Karate Kid fans, if you know, you know. Meaning, she gently shoved me, pushed me, ushered me into the same dance school that my little sister was a part of. Now, I was one of 4 boys. I didn't want anyone to know because I was petrified. I was like, what if this gets out in school? And it did. Story for another day. But the great thing was that experience made me fall in love with the stage, and unknowingly my mum was teaching me the art of stage presence.
And also, but loads of people will go, fine, walk it like you talk it, because you get an online course and this sort of stuff. But you were a city trader, weren't you? You took that, what you are putting in this book, you actually have learnt from your time as a trader. And again, I worked with loads of traders and they were burnt out by 30 because it was the live fast, die fast. But they were, whenever we used to have the conversations at 3 a.m. in somebody's kitchen, they would always say how unhappy they were. And the reason that they were partying so hard was to fill the hole in the soul.
Oh, you know what? That story often rings true across the city of London. You know, not just in banking, often across various different types of industries. But what's interesting was, have you seen the movie Wall Street?
Yeah, of course, Charlie Sheen. That's my generation, Ravi. Come on.
Right. Gordon Gekko, greed is good, right? Yeah. So I had Gordon on my shoulder, basically saying, "Come on, Ravi, greed is good. Go out there, chase the money." So that's what I did. You know, I did. That's what I ended up doing. Finished up a master's in business school, and I ended up on the trading floor selling foreign exchange products. Now, the interesting thing is what I've learned, or what I learned, was when you look back and connect the dots, you realize that everything was happening for you, not to you. So, dance school taught me stage presence. Theatre as a kid that I fell into taught me the art of storytelling. Delivering hundreds and hundreds of presentations in investment banking and sales leadership in tech taught me the art of putting together a narrative that sells. So when I came to actually starting my business, I was like, obviously, in September 2020, the one thing I'm going to teach the world is the one thing that's been my edge since I was a kid: influential communication. So for those listening to this right now, don't discount the prior chapter of your story. It's powerful.
Well, it's put you where you are, and also listening. Because a lot of communications and a lot of sales books say, you know, I'm in the middle of like 8,000 real estate developments and people, and they're always trying to sell, and they sell at you. But if you're going to get trust, you've got to listen to people, because otherwise you're just spilling at them. And that is that's how you build confidence. It's how you build teams. It's how you get your personnel skills.
Oh, you are speaking my language, my friend. You know, from all the different teams and leaders that I've worked with, often they want to learn how to tell a great story. Often they want to learn how to deliver a great pitch or presentation, but often the one thing that they're missing is learning how to not just actively listen, but deeply listen to their conversation partner. And if you can't listen to the human being opposite you, how are you going to know how to ask the right questions? If you aren't listening to the human being opposite you, how do you know what they care about? And if you aren't listening to the person opposite you, then how can you deliver a story that truly connects? So you're right. You know, for me, one of the habits inside of the book is asking conscious questions, but that's just one side of the same coin. The other side is deep listening.
I mean, also, how difficult is it to actually, because you've got to be confident in yourself, because if you see somebody and you think, I know this person, and I don't need to have met this person, I know this, he's from Essex, he's a market trader, I know his type, and then you go in with a prejudice, and therefore you're not really listening. So you have to be ready to sort of cast aside your own aspersions and actually really listen, and it's a lot of looking into yourself as well, isn't it, Ravi?
I believe so. I believe that the inner work makes the dream work, and that a journey of you're laughing. It's true, man.
You normally hear like teamwork makes the dream work, but inner work makes the dream work. That's why I'm laughing.
It does. It's cheesy, but I hold on to that with a death grip rather, because really a journey of introspection is what makes you comfortable in your own skin. When you're comfortable in your own skin, the mind-mouth connection really cleans up, and when you do that, you can communicate more effectively, and when you do speak, your words will be more potent. So really, for me, everybody's got their own outlet. For some, it's having a therapist. For others, it's speaking to a friend they can be vulnerable with. For others, it's a coach, journaling, whatever it could be. I invite you to be fixed on the desire of doing the inner work, but flexible on the path to get there.
But the thing is, we live in a world where everything is instant. We want the instant hit. We want the instant like. We want the instant, the instant, you're a great guy. We have to relearn the art of patience. We have to relearn the art of doing the hard yards, because everybody sees a success, but nobody sees the tremendous amount of the boring stuff, the day in, the routine to get to that point. And I'm not just talking about a business venture, but your own venture. Because if you're looking at yourself, it's not like, oh, I had an afternoon, I did an online therapy, and now I am, my chakras are so aligned that I can do pole dancing on them. So therefore, you'd like that, Phil, don't you? You can use that, Ravi. You can have that one. But
I'll leave that one for you. Maybe another book. A different book.
Exactly.
A different book.
Pole dance on your chakra.com. But what I'm saying is, because we are fixated on the quick fix, and you know better than anybody else that you are a long-term project. Everybody's a long-term project for themselves.
Oh, we are all work in progress. And it's interesting you say this. I believe that in society today, we are addicted to instant gratification. And really what that breeds is reactive behavior. Now, for me, the definition of reactive behavior that I love is from the spiritual wisdom of Kabbalah, which is any action that is grounded in fear, lack, or scarcity. So a leader hoarding information from their number two because they don't want them to surpass them. Reactive behavior. A salesperson trying to push a prospect through a deal because they want to hit that commission check. Reactive behavior. Now, really, what that all results in is short-term behavior that kills long-term reputation. The outcome, a breakage of trust.
So why did you, I was going to say, why do you want to do this book? Because you don't want to hoard the information to yourself? Because a good leader, a good manager, a good captain passes it on. He doesn't want it all for himself. A bad leader, is front and center going, it's all about me. So is that the reason that you put relationship currency down, and also to make people rethink what really matters in business negotiations? Or all negotiations?
In the world that we live in today, I deeply believe that we are becoming obsessed with automation without connection, growth without even considering introspection, and then conversations, because of instant gratification, that lack intention. They don't have intention. So really, this book for me was to get in the hands of people to help them unearth human connection in a time where AI, automation, machines, it feels like there's this battle that people are having. And for me, it's not about machines or humans. It's about machines and humans. And our edge is the ability to use the spoken word effectively, tell great stories, and build relationship currency. So it doesn't matter what career you're in, what you're doing in business and life. Relationships are, for me anyway, the most important thing, my friend.
And to actually, so if somebody's sitting there going, yeah, I get it completely, but I'm really terrified of AI, and I'm really terrified of the world my kids are living in, and it's all going to be sort of fake news and the whole thing. Again, take the pause, because we've always had technology that's thrown us. When I was growing up, TV was a big thing. VHS. Ask your parents. VHS was a thing that was going to destroy our minds, and the Spectrum ZX80 was a thing of the devil, etc. And there's been a lot of, again, it's that, oh well, I'm over 50, I can't possibly learn about new technology. You're going to have to, and because if you want to communicate and you want to not be scared, I suppose, for the future.
One thing I would say is we often fear, and this is definitely a quote from a movie. Maybe you'll be able to tell me which movie, but we often fear what we don't understand. Where's that from? What movie is that from?
Oh, you got me on that one.
Is it Spider-Man or something like that?
Your Spider-Man is probably completely different to my Spider-Man because
no, Tobey Maguire. Come on, Tobey Maguire is our Spider-Man, surely.
Oh, just don't go there. Anyway, keep going. Yes, Maguire is. Yes, of course. Yes, right, whatever you say, Ralph. Yeah, okay.
I forgot even my train of thought, but what I am saying is this, is that I remember when I was about 10 years old, I remember sitting with my Nokia 3210. Oh. Actually, no, I wanted a 3210, but my parents were holding out, and I had this big block of a phone with like this aerial programming ringtones into my phone. Right, that was the thing. Trying to get Will Smith into my phone to getting jiggy with it to play. But technology's moving fast, yes. And what I would say is one thing that will not change, in my opinion, is the human skills. Being able to listen more effectively, being able to ask great questions, being able to transform the story you tell yourself so you can go out there and receive more of what you desire, unearthing your charisma, being seen as a trusted guide, telling great stories. These things are evergreen. So what I would say is, yes, technology is moving at a fast pace. I'm not an AI expert, so you should definitely have somebody on who talks about that. But for me, what I focus on is human connection, and that's not going anywhere. Actually, we're starved of it. We are starved of it right now. The desire for it is increasing.
And that becomes a currency in itself, because there's going to be a point when everybody goes, you know what? I'm fed up with crypto. I don't want this. I don't want AI. I want to have some real face-to-face communication. And if you can do that, it's always been the same through history. Business markets, personal relationships. They're always, apps notwithstanding, at the end of the day, it's all about people and how we connect and how we believe and how we trust in ourselves.
I mean, community since the beginning of time has been so integral to longevity. Our relationships are actually important to longevity. So much so, think about it like this. I have been a part of this men's mastermind, this men's group for this year. And we come together every single week to elevate in different areas of our life. And tomorrow I'm actually flying to the US to meet everybody in person after talking virtually over Zoom for a year. And I am so excited to actually have those conversations and build those relationships and take them to the next level. Because the truth is imagine if you and I did this in person. We would probably continue for like an hour. We may go grab a dinner afterwards, whatever it could be. But that level of intimacy and connection that happens when we are in person with one another, you just can't replicate it. It's a beautiful thing.
It's the old, round the water cooler thing. The best ideas come out of left field rather than we're going to have a group chat at 4:00 and I want you to have your ideas and we've got 40 minutes. That doesn't happen.
Exactly, my friend. Exactly. I mean, when it comes to relationship currency, I'm curious to know for you in your career, given you've done so many things from keynotes to presentations to what you're doing now, how important has it been to build relationships along the way? Or do you believe, hey, you can just do it on your own, self-made?
No. I mean, the thing is, you have to believe, because one of my many goddaughters is a performing artist and she gets terrible stage fright. So I always say, back yourself, Zig. When you go onto that stage, that is your safe space. And it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. That is your safe space and you can be who you want to be. Same thing with this radio show. I could bore you stupid about how I built myself back up from a very messy start. But you back yourself and you know at that point that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing and that nobody wants you to fail.
So it sounds as though for you, it's about building the most important relationship is a relationship with yourself.
Of course, because if you don't have that, then everything else you do is false. If you not face yourself in the mirror and go, I'm okay, then everything else is just smoke and mirrors, Ravi. Because otherwise you're not speaking from the heart, you're not speaking the truth.
It's interesting. There's a quote in the book, and I'm going to misquote it right now because I've gone blank for a second, but let me run with it, paraphrase it. It's something along the lines of the depth of the relationship you have with yourself is a direct correlation of the depth of the relationship you have with others. So actually, I think I've got it word for word there. So there you go, pat on the back. But the idea here is going back to the relationship with yourself, the inner work, and really, the more depth you have with yourself, the more you will understand your humanity, your imperfections, what makes you, and you'll end up having more empathy for others, but it will increase the depth of the relationship you have with others because you'll be able to ask better questions, listen more effectively. All of these things happen when you get more introspective, if that's a journey somebody wants to go on.
But that's the most important journey that you will make, knowledge of self. And therefore, so it's not just a sales tool, it's a life tool.
I believe so.
I could talk to you probably until Sunday at this rate, but I'm going to run out of time and crash the news. The book is called Relationship Currency, and it's by Ravi, who we're speaking today. If you go to the Talk Radio Europe virtual bookstore, click on the front cover. It'll be winging its way to you. I know there's a website, Ravi, so where can people find you? Because there's so much more to talk about there.
Yeah, well, if you head on down to theravirajani.com/book, you can order your copy on Amazon, Audible. If you're an auditory learner, wherever you buy books, you can buy a copy of this, my friend.
And presumably you do all the socials, but with heart and meaning.
Well, I'd like to say so. You can decide when you go on the socials, but the platform where I'm the most active is LinkedIn, which is probably a shock to most of your listeners. They're probably like, huh? Isn't that a resume platform? But yeah, LinkedIn is where I hang out the most these days.
Well, listen, it's been a conversation that went really in directions I didn't think it would go, but it's been absolutely brilliant. The book is called Relationship Currency. You can order it via our own virtual bookstore. It's by Ravi Rajani. It's been an absolute blast to speak to you today.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.